June. She says, your ears must have been burning yesterday or ringing, whatever they're supposed to do. And I said, well, why is that? Because nobody would mention my name in church in the same day. I mean, if you know me, that's just, you might talk about spiritual things in me, but not church, right? So she said, well, there was a person from China, and that person's uncle had a fund. And this fund is to help philanthropic projects that create a lot of jobs. And I said, well, great. And she says, well, I told them about your school. So when you have a dream and you talk about it everywhere you go, every time you're talking with someone, you never know, those ears are going to take that in, process it, and then other people, because there's a couple of you who I've met because somebody I know very dearly has said, do you know what Sharon's doing? And that's why you're involved with me. And that's what's so cool, because this has just had a life of its own. The momentum is phenomenal. So I was introduced to Clyde, and Clyde is the broker. So there's a string of 5 people. The Chinese investor talks to Jean, who talks to George, who talks to Helen, who talks to Irving, and now the broker talks to me. Now, none of us can go in between. We have to all talk to the next person in line. So on December 28th, Clyde calls at 11:28 p.m. and said that mine was one of the projects approved. And there were only 20 out of 60,000 that were approved as of December 28th. So by May, there was 660. They said the funds would be available March 1st, but then the World Trade Fund got involved, and they decided to reevaluate all the international currency, and it's been on hold, and July 18th, they finally released the funds, so now the investor has the funds. So that was July 18th. Now, what has happened since July 18th, I don't know, because nobody is talking. So we know that the investor is here in San Francisco. There are 5 projects. It's now 128 projects that have been approved. There were over 600 projects in May, but they didn't comply. Can you imagine that? And we had one weekend, when was that, Ruby? A couple months ago, when Julian was out here from New York, thank goodness, because he really helped me with the map. I mean, it was a nightmare. I was told that I had 5 days to complete 9 different forms and break down all this information, and 6 of the forms were something I had never seen or never heard of before. So I had 5 days to do it, and I worked 20 hours for 4 days, and I worked 22 hours a day the last 2 days. Turned it in at 8 o'clock, and I was the only one out of all the 600 projects that actually turned it in on time with everything the way they wanted it. So they were really pleased that I actually I keep saying, then put me first, But we've been told that UBU is 10th in line.
That's good.
And so it's very soon. We don't know why. We don't know what's going to happen, what's holding it back. But we do know that everything is in the process. So I actually made a sheet. I think you can pretty much share between 2 of you. I think Judy, you
I have one, so.
Yeah, so if you want to just pass the rest of those around. So I think if you just share, you can see this is a city within itself. It's absolutely amazing.